A new mixed-use development project is planned near Louisville Slugger Field. Tori Morden McClure marks 25 years since her transatlantic journey. And a Louisville Metro Council person is named the second vice president of the National League of Cities. All of that and more on Louisville This Week. I'm John Ramsey, Director of City Partnerships. During this weekly press conference, Mayor Greenberg announced a transformative new mixed-use development proposal that is planned for the area adjacent to Louisville Slugger Field.
We set out to elevate minor league baseball across the country. From the fan experience to the player experience, that was our core vision, but it was to also create centers of energy around the ballparks that we operate in. To stand here today with a proposed $250 million development that really will be transformational for the team, but for everyone in and around downtown Louisville, to see this proposed vision come to life next to us in renderings is really inspirational and incredibly exciting.
This district will be a very significant investment in the continued transformation of our downtown core. It will add much needed residential development so that we have more choices for people to live in downtown, putting more pedestrian activity on the sidewalks. It will have entertainment and hospitality options, making this area a new destination and creating fun options for people to come do fun, authentic things in downtown.
They saw the momentum that was going on here in Louisville. They understood the history of this franchise, of this stadium, of our city, of our downtown, and they share a belief that by investing in our hometown, by investing in Louisville, it will be great for the people of Louisville, that more people will have the opportunity to have even more entertainment experiences, create more jobs, and continue this downtown revitalization that's going on right now.
LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey held his biweekly press conference with information on the latest crime data and an update on last month's officer-involved shooting.
All right, good morning. Thank you for joining us today for our biweekly press conference. Able to give you some updates on a couple of events, some homicide updates, as well as release body camera footage from the officer-involved incident from the 4th Division where we had 2 officers that were shot by a suspect. So we'll start off with our crime overview as we do every week. We're sitting at currently 137 homicides compared to 134 last week. 344 non-fatal shootings. You can see that's down 9%. And then our robberies and carjackings are sitting at 144 compared to 132 this year. I'll emphasize again, this is something that we're always working on. It doesn't matter if these numbers are up, down. We're always looking for them to go down, and we're making sure that we put our resources in the places that they need to be.
We are going to release the body cam footage from the November 19th incident where 2 officers and a suspect were shot. This occurred during a confrontation relating to an investigation of a stolen vehicle and an arrest during that investigation.
The only reason I know it's because the kids know me. All right.
Why would you shoot me at it though?
Because I'm literally just taking my shoe off to go grab some food inside the car. What am I good for? I can't break that.
Why would I do that? What are you doing? Why would you do that? Why would you bring me up? Bring you up in the air. They put the neck in the air. I'm not doing nothing, son.
He's still resisting.
No, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. Come on, I can't. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not give us your hands. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm gonna hold it. Ah! 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 His hands! His hands! His hands! His hands! Hands in the back! Hands in the back! His hands in the back! His hands in the back! Help him, Lord! Hey, help him! Help him! Help him! You shot it. Stop.
So as you saw in court yesterday, there was probable cause found, and the case is waived up to the grand jury at this point. That is on the charges related to the suspect.
District 11 Metro Councilman Kevin Kramer has been elected the second vice president of the National League of Cities.
The National League of Cities is an organization of locally elected officials from all over the United States who get together to network, to learn more about issues that are impacting cities across the country and what best practices might be to deal with that, and also to do some work in Washington, D.C. I've been really excited about the work that NLC does. I've learned just a ton about how local governments function and operate. There's a lot to be said for being able to talk to folks in other cities who are dealing with some of the same issues that you're dealing with, who have perhaps a slightly different perspective. The second vice president is the training process, I guess you'd say, to become president. So it would be my responsibility to establish vision, to talk about where I see NLC going in the not too distant future, where we may spend a little bit more of our resources taking care of, say, this particular, or worrying about this particular issue versus that particular issue. What are the issues that cities are really struggling with? I'm really grateful for the opportunities for me, and especially grateful for what it means for us.
As a member of the Louisville Orchestra and the former director of the Louisville Academy of Music, Ruth French has been an important part of the Louisville music scene for over 70 years.
Ruth French has had an amazing impact on our city and our orchestra. She has left such an incredible legacy.
She's one of the most gifted women that I have ever met.
I'm so inspired by her life's journey. When you have a teacher, they're kind of frozen in time as your teacher only. But over the years, I've really gotten to know Ruth as a full person. She started sharing a lot about her life, and it is so inspiring having seen her career.
I don't know if I've seen that photo.
You might not have. My mother started me on piano lessons when I was 5. I'd been playing the piano there, I guess, for 4 years already. And I just asked my mother if I could take violin lessons or learn to play it. We moved up to Presentation Academy and took lessons there.
She was a very natural talent and was swept up by a lot of famous teachers at that time. She studied at a lot of summer programs.
I was in the symphony. My teacher, Mr. Letzler, wanted me to audition for Mr. Whitney, who was the conductor then. I was amazed, but at 17 I got in. It never happened before. The very first rehearsal, Mr. Whitney told us that they were going to have to close the orchestra because of lack of money. I thought, I'll play one rehearsal and I'll be through. But that's when we got all that money from those programs to write the modern music.
The Louisville Orchestra then was the most advanced orchestra for commissioning new music and recording it on the planet. And she got to experience that during that very special golden era.
We had William Schumann come down here from Juilliard. He wrote Judith. Martha Graham came down here and danced. And that's the one that put us on records. We went to the White House and Carnegie Hall. It was a great experience to do all that. More than I realized when I was 17. Played 20 years after that.
Her music took her around this region, but also around the whole country, both with the orchestra and through her country music playing.
I was playing country music at that time for fun and for money.
Ruth French was a part of both worlds and understood no, this is music, now it's a fiddle. She talked about going down and playing at the Grand Ole Opry, and her host was Audrey Williams, which was Hank Williams' de facto widow.
That's Lefty Frizzell.
Wow,
He was
that's awesome.
right up there with Hank Williams.
Yeah. Was he nice?
Oh yeah, very, very. Mm-hmm. Flirty.
Yeah, sure.
When I was 24, I was still playing in the orchestra. One day I'd been out, and when I walked home, my mother told me that I'd gotten a phone call from a man named Robert French. I called him back, and he told me he was starting a school. That's how we got to know each other, and just gradually.
They had a very easygoing marriage. There was never any strife or argument that I remember. My father was focused on running the business. My mother was focused on teaching.
When I started teaching, I got 4 really good students at the same time. Barbara Meek, Carol Webb, who went on to the New York Philharmonic, Leanne Akers, and Hilda Robinson. That brought in students. Started with 3 and grew to 100 at one time.
She had like a grandmother love kind of energy, and she was very gentle and like kind with her words, but was also very motivating.
I think that's very important to be a friend to the child. I think they come in, they're probably scared too. And I think you have to just learn their personalities as much as you can. I never wanted to teach. I wanted to play, but I liked it a lot. Like the kids, I like everything about it. We took all our own savings and put it all into the school, and then over the years, the school paid us back.
You know, this used to be a house, right, a very, very long time ago, built in 1911. I think this is my mother when she was very young. That was not here before. The rooms are a little odd sometimes because maybe they were like, you know, maybe this was a master bedroom, right? And so there's like this weird arch in the middle of it for no obvious reason, and then there's a master bathroom. They turned what was originally a ballet studio into a workable set of music studios and a place where we could live as well. They started a particular style of school, which I think is very unusual today. This kind of school doesn't exist in a lot of places where you have a large number of teachers teaching private students under one roof.
Ruth had up to 90 students a week. A week. I think I have 50, and that's about all I can handle.
Every time I see her, it's really nice because she usually hears me play. I think she likes hearing me improve, and I like playing for her and seeing how she reacts.
Music is one of the last places you're going to find that unique relationship between student and teacher.
I have always loved playing the violin, but I never wanted to be a performer. Ruth was always a very kind teacher, and I remember her really caring about me beyond the violin. It is so inspiring having seen how long she taught and how many students she reached.
Well, my mom and I had discussed over a number of years what was going to happen to the school. And my mom became convinced that Sarah was an absolutely wonderful person to take it over, and she could not have been more right.
I knew it was time to retire, and so, you know, I'd been doing it now 67 years, and so I knew it was in good hands.
Such an honor to be able to continue a legacy and to build on something that has been here for 70 years as part of the community.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
We have grown in size to now be serving over 400 kids a week. We have kids coming from over 50 zip codes. We also have ages 3 to 83 here, so it's not just about young people.
I think Lamb has done an amazing job of broadening music education and investing heavily in ensuring that people who might not have access to great private instruction will have that resource.
I think it's also very much like the classical music tradition. You're taking this very long history, you're carrying on those traditions, those ideas, those values, but then you're adding to it, you're opening it up. One lifetime is not a very long time. I think we can do a lot more by building on those who came before us.
When you know that your students are making it and out there in the world doing it and remaining your friends, I think it gives you a feeling that you've done your part.
The Louisville Downtown Partnership unveiled a new downtown city spot kiosk at the corner of 5th and Jefferson Streets. The new kiosk system is aimed at enhancing the downtown area by providing information to connect people with Louisville's vibrant urban experiences. The annual Metro Resilience and Community Service Holiday Line has begun. Spread some holiday cheer this year by adopting a family or a senior citizen and pledging to make their holiday season a little brighter.
There's resources for things that people need, but this is an opportunity for people to get kind of those special things that perhaps they wouldn't get throughout the year. We do this every year. We've been doing it for quite some time, and this is an opportunity for the staff to make referrals on behalf of the families that we serve. Here's a teenager, probably the most difficult group of kids to shop for. We solicit support from people who have a little bit of additional resources to help throughout the holiday season. We ask those folks to adopt families or a kid or an adult and shop for them. Mr. Donnie is 66 years old. This line is for everybody. So we have infants all the way up through the age of 18. We also will sponsor some adults, some single adults who are experiencing homelessness. This is a middle-aged lady. I have no idea what is in this box, but it is heavy. And then our seniors are really, really, really special to the tree. We take care of our seniors through senior nutrition, so we are providing meals, but there are just other things that seniors need that they don't necessarily have the resources for. Things like bath wash, laundry detergent, paper towel, toilet paper, things like that. Just super sweet snacks. These are people that we have developed a relationship with, whether it's through case management services or people that we've worked with while they've been living on the streets or what have you. The magic of Christmas, it's a happy time of year. As a long-term Metro employee, this is something that I've found a lot of joy in, not only because it brings joy to the people that we give gifts to, but just watching the staff really get into this. Our fundraiser is probably the single most thing that brings our whole department together. And that's money that people spend on their own to help raise money for this. And then people even buy tickets. So you bring a dish, you buy a ticket to eat your own food. So that's the level of commitment, to something like this. There is something magical about Christmas, and we like to help bring the magic to families during this time of year.
Through December 13th, you can swing by the Edison Center at 701 West Ormsby Avenue to take an ornament from a tree in the lobby and fill out the on-site sign-up sheet. Tori Merton McClure marked the 25th anniversary of her historic 3,300-mile transatlantic rowing journey with the announcement that she's donating her boat, the American Pearl Boat, as well as other items from her expedition to the Fraser History Museum.
I called Tori in 2020, not long after I came to the Fraser, asking her about the American Pearl and where it was and if she would ever consider putting it on display in Cool, Kentucky. The answer was yes, and lucky us. We've had it here ever since. And it doesn't get any cooler than Tori and the American Pearl in Cool, Kentucky.
It was 25 years ago today that Tori became the first woman and the first American to ever row across the Atlantic Ocean. It took 81 days, 3,300 miles. It started at the Canary Islands, and the boat has been on loan here to the Fraser ever since 2020 when we built this cool Kentucky exhibit.
I think Hemingway said something along the lines of, the world breaks everyone, and afterwards some are strong at the broken places. And the boat was broken, and we rebuilt it with Kevlar. And certainly the story broke me, but when I think about the American Pearl and all the folks who've touched it, watching the videos, seeing folks like Barry Bingham on the boat, are really touching, because they're folks who are no longer here, but made a huge impact on my life. And like many of us, I have been broken. But so many wonderful things have happened as I came back from that brokenness.
Tori's going to sign the gift paperwork now to make this an official part of our collection.
The Louisville Zoo is spreading holiday cheer with several events this December, including Connick's Berry Happy Holidays with the zoo's beloved polar bear sharing some holiday-themed activities with her animal companions. Visits by Santa and Mrs. Claus with photos and sweet treats. And a holiday scavenger hunt that will be going on all month long. For more information on these events, please visit louisvillezoo.org/berryhappy. JCPS teacher Saypaw came to Louisville as a first grader. At the time, she didn't speak English. She didn't know until a reunion this year that she was the inspiration for a former elementary school teacher to learn new languages and teach multilingual students.
Before our lesson, we're going to look at who was Pocahontas, right?
Saypaw is a teacher at Kenwood Elementary School, speaking perfect English to her students, some of whom are multilingual learners. It's a far cry from 2007, when she was new to the U.S., spoke virtually no English, and began school at Maupin Elementary School in Ms. Brown's first grade class.
She was my first newcomer. There were other students at Maupin who were also multilingual learners, but they had a little more, they were born here, they had a little more English. So I remember feeling very frustrated that I didn't feel like I could help her the same way that I could help some of the other students. And she's right, she was in a little bit of a silent period.
I felt like I was mute because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I didn't know how to say anything. I think the only word that I know how to say was stop. So
you had to learn that one.
Yeah.
In 2011, Say had Amy for her teacher again in 5th grade. They hadn't seen each other since, until an open house at Kenwood this year.
I saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Saypaw. And I just looked at her and she looked at me and we just were like, what? And we hugged and I cried. And I was like, does she even really remember me? Like, or was she just like, who's this lady that was like, oh my gosh, Saypaw?
No, you look the same. I feel like you look the same. And when you said, is that Saypaw? I was like, oh, like I remember right away. So yeah, we hugged and it was just like a full circle moment. I'm like, it's just like, for me, it was just a sign that I was meant to be here, to be doing this.
The two started chatting, Amy revealing that after seeing Say's struggles with English in 1st grade, she was inspired to go back to school herself to get her English language development certification. Now she's working full-time on helping JCPS's multilingual learners.
She's the reason why, I'm in education, stuck with education, really have a passion for multilingual learners. So just so inspirational. Like, imagine learning a new language and the content at the same time, while also probably supporting your family in terms of like helping them navigate the language. I'm just always inspired by multilingual learners, and especially Saypaw.
What do you think when you hear that?
I'm like, my cheeks are red now. Yeah, I love that because I remember, like, I want to be a teacher because of all the teachers that, have helped me along the way. They were like a stepping stone to my higher education, and the dedication that they've put in each individual student. I think their works, I just admire it so much.
Multilingual students are brilliant. They just don't always know how to speak English yet. And so I could tell that she was a bright child and just didn't have the words to express it yet. So just making sure that, that you're supporting everybody, meeting them where they are, and get your ELD endorsement.
Yeah.
Director of the Office for Women, Gretchen Hunt, was the guest on this week's Metro Matters.
So let's talk about the Strengthening the Village project. So how did the Office of Women come to this work? And how did you guys start collaborating?
It's a great story of collaboration. We knew that childcare is a big need in our community. We knew that women also need to be able to be earning money so that they can help their families and so they can thrive. And Amos Izarimana, who's the director of the Office for Immigrant Affairs, came to me at one point and said, you know, there were some Congolese women years ago who came to me and they were having difficulty going through all the regulations and process to open up childcare businesses in their homes. The journey was starting with 4Cs, Community Coordinated Childcare, and we funded them with some funding to do language access. And we were still kind of not figuring it out. And we didn't really figure it out until we started partnering with See Forward Ministries.
When they came with that project, we knew that we were also looking ways of how to help the community, most of the women. They want to work, but they don't have anybody to leave their child with. And we're trying to find other ways on how we can help. We knew that daycare was very expensive and they can't afford it because it's only one person in the household who is working. So, and then when Amos introduced us to the Office of Women, so that really helped us. And we're like,
perfect match, huh?
Yes. And he came at the right, perfect time. So we went ahead and joined. And when we spread out the word about that, we had so many women who applied for that. It was just like everybody wanted to do something. They've been trying to do it, but they don't know the means and how to go about it. And since then, we've been working to get them, bring the awareness that there is more to this city than just staying in the home. Like their city can offer you more as a woman or as a lady, because we're not only giving only for women, it's on even the ladies, young ladies who just graduated from high school. If they want to go into daycare, we're introducing them into that too as well.
You can watch Metro Matters each Wednesday at 8 a.m. and p.m. right here on Metro TV. We were on the streets of Louisville asking people what is their favorite cold weather activity.
My name's Connor. I'm from here. I'm from Kentucky. And probably ice skating.
Yeah, my name's Dixon, and I'm also from here, and probably play football.
My favorite cold weather activity would be playing some football.
I like snow tubing as well.
Sledding and hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
And sleeping.
Ice skating.
Yeah. Sledding. Watching Christmas movies.
My favorite winter activity is probably sledding. My favorite activity is tubing. Or like snow tubing around. And I like skiing.
Louisville Metro Animal Services needs volunteers and people who are willing to foster dogs and cats. They also have a shelter full of dogs and cats just waiting to become your new best friend.
If a tree that is planted in your neighbor's property has limbs that are overhanging onto your property, it is your responsibility to first work with the tree owner to come to a resolution. Should a resolution not be met, you are able to have the tree cut yourself straight up from the property line. However, if the tree was to be damaged or die in the process, you may be liable. So we strongly encourage you to work with your neighbor to reach an agreement. If a tree were to fall onto your property from the result of a storm or any other circumstances, that tree is now your responsibility. It is on your property and it must be handled by you.
Thank you for watching. Please share Metro TV with your friends and ask them to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or X, and download our Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire TV apps. Have a wonderful week.